I'm with Marcie Baumann, and Marcie, you got an incredible story on how you opened up a coffee shop.
Yes.
And I would love to hear your story.
There's the long version and the short version.
Okay. Well,
one of the main funny things, I feel like God planted a seed in my heart way back when that ultimately I would enjoy having a coffee shop.
Okay.
So every time for the last 25 years, I got frustrated with my job or whatever, I would think, I just want to go open a coffee shop with my friends and have a good time. But ultimately, I never thought it would come to fruition. It was more a silly dream. 3 years ago, I was a pastor, had been a pastor for a long time. I was speaking to large groups of people. And this one Sunday, this one weekend, I had been given the topic of following the Holy Spirit. And that's one of my favorite things, one of my favorite topics. And I preached this sermon about being audacious and being willing to take huge leaps of faith, because ultimately the roller coaster ride, as scary as it is going to be the place to be.
Right.
And at the end of that sermon, I came off the stage during the reflection song, and I sat down to pray myself, and I really sensed God saying, "This is your last time on this stage." And I was speaking to 3,000 people that Sunday, and I didn't quite see that coming.
Doesn't God have a sense of humor, though? I mean, when you think about
right. And in my brain, I was trying to make sense of it. So I was like, he must have a different ministry for me, a different church that needs me.
Yeah.
And I just really sensed that it was, this is your last Sunday, and also you don't get to say goodbye. And of course, me being myself, I wanted to have this beautiful exit where I got to be like, "I love you guys," and they got to say, "We love you too." Wasn't going to happen. Wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So I talked to my board on Monday night and submitted my resignation on Wednesday.
Wow.
And that was my last day.
Wow.
And
you didn't know
terrifying.
And you didn't
Nothing.
know. It wasn't like,
Nothing.
this is the map. This is the roadmap.
I was the primary provider in our family. I had 3 kids. One was graduating high school and going to college. It made no sense at all. I had we are not wealthy at all. Like this makes no sense.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, I start pursuing other pastoring jobs. I got accepted by a church. They called me. They wanted me to come be their pastor. And I'm like, see, isn't this great how God just provides? And the head of the denomination was a good friend of mine, and he was like, "You keep lighting up every time you talk about this coffee shop idea." And I would have been his pastor. And he was like, I love the idea of you being my pastor, but I don't think this is it. And in that time of interviewing, somebody I knew had this building, not a Christian. He just liked me as a person.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, I don't have a job for you, but I have 4,000 square feet that you could build into whatever you wanted it to be." He was thinking I'd build into a church.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet of you, but no, I don't have any money."
Yeah.
Thanks, And but then I started thinking, that'd be cool if I could do it as a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice if he financed it, right?
Yeah.
Nope, he wasn't going to finance it. So hence, when that denominational leader was like, "You keep talking about this coffee shop," it was this space, and it was this. And I was so terrified. I hadn't had a job, so I couldn't get a loan. Like I said, my husband wasn't making much at the time. He too had a huge job shift where he took a dock and pay.
Yeah.
It was stepping out of the boat, walking on water faith. It was crazy.
An audacious sermon that you were just preaching.
It really was.
The last sermon that you preached.
And okay, let me just say this. When I called together people to say, "Okay, what do you guys think? You who know me, do you confirm what the Holy Spirit seems to be saying?" I had 80 people show up to that. They're all like, "Yes, do it." And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I have these 80 people that are going to financially back me and show up to help me build this thing. Not true. I mean, they were well-intended people.
Right.
But there wasn't more to that. They were just like, "Yay, you go, girl." Done. And so in turn, there was just so many pieces to this where I felt like this does not make sense.
Yeah.
Of course I have to have a team. So who helped me build this place? I had 3 kids and their friends. So I had literally 12 teenagers.
Yeah.
How perfect is that?
Yeah.
I had a man come forward who taught a refugee school class where they use construction as a way of teaching English to refugees as well as a trade. So I had about 15 refugees who did not speak English, all teenagers, young 20s, helping me build this space. And then he brought in this Jewish man who, not a Messianic Jew, just a Jewish guy who kept calling it my God, right?
Yeah.
And I also had an atheist.
Yeah.
Old guy, retired. And he built all my cabinetry and he helped me build out the walls and stuff like that. So, no money.
Yeah.
No talent. And I, bit by bit, we couldn't do anything. I would call the building owner and be like, okay, I have $500. Do you mind if I tear down a wall?
Yeah.
Like, but yet at the same time, I might not do this because I don't know.
Right.
I mean, everything was just one tiny step of
Step
faith.
at a time.
Step of faith, step of faith. And ultimately, I did sense that this is a church. This is the modern day well. People, we don't have wells for people to come get their drink. We have coffee shops. People come get their drinks every day.
Right.
And also, I just felt like this is the most beautiful church where what I wanted. I'm also a chaplain with the police department.
Yeah.
And I loved being with people on their best days and their worst days.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the kind of the job version, the marketing version of church.
Yeah.
So here I get to look people in the eye and be like, how you doing?
Yeah.
And just love them.
Right.
And it's amazing. And my baristas, I get to have a youth group where I pay them to come to youth group and they get to learn how to be good workers, be gracious with people that are difficult.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just so many really cool pieces to the whole thing.
Well,
So,
I just, I look at what's here.
yeah.
And you know that I'm here on Tuesdays and Fridays because of a class and a class.
Yeah.
And these are our cutting edge, risk-taking, audacious faith building situations. One is for Christian business people. The other, they're both involved with Christian business.
Yes.
But one is more on the faith of what are you doing?
Be a pastor in
the
your
kingdom.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's from that I was able to go out to Columbia. I would not have gone to Columbia. I would not do these things that I'm doing if it wasn't for
these people.
Yeah,
exactly. And
you're a coffee shop.
And that's just it, right?
Yeah.
I take these leaps of faith. I just want to add, and even saying this, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
When I opened, I was in the black. I mean,
who opens in the black?
No one.
Yeah. So what I want to do now is with Kylie, I'd like to just walk around and get the buzz of your coffee shop.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
Let's do it.
Should we just pause or keep going?
No, we're gonna walk out
keep
that
going.
door.
Perfect.
So this is the classroom. Why don't you just do a quick little view?
Yeah.
This is the classroom that we use for a little meeting spot. And Marcie, why don't you follow Marcie and just keep on? Yeah.
So we have 3 conference rooms. People can book them ahead of time, and they get to use them if it's for spiritual or mental health. They get it for 1 hour for free, and it's really been amazing. Then we have very cozy seating. You can kind of see And then we have a boutique, and the boutique is all beautiful things. We do a lot of give back, so a lot of people that we've had missionaries that serve in a foreign country where people can make something and we can sell it. We also have things that are just local artists, but we also have some things that are just pretty, and we love to make people feel good, right?
So let's check this out.
And it's beautiful, and it's, again, disarming. So, and all throughout, again, beautiful. I never felt like I was supposed to go cheap. Like it was, God kind of was like, I'm your provider.
Yeah.
let me give you a beautiful light, not just a light, right? So I had electricians donate their services. I mean, everything that I need that was licensed, except for plumbing. Everything was, for the most part, given to me by people who had talent, and that's just it. Whatever you have, whether it be like the gift of hospitality or a skill set. The HVAC people, oh my goodness, they saved me so much money by giving their hands and their time. My floors in the kitchen were laid by somebody who said, I'll have you pay my price for the tile. He couldn't afford to give it to me. I totally respect that.
Yeah.
I'll give you my price for the tile. I'll give you my labor. I can't send in any of my guys. I'll do it myself. People just saying, this is what I got. See what you can do with it.
I just think it's an incredible story.
It is.
And
it gets proven day and date. Those people that helped me build this out that were not Christians, I would have a Suburban would pull up, a woman, this happened to me, I'm not, probably 10 times. People I didn't know would come in and be like, hey, here's a check for $500. And they were like, well, is that your good friend? I'm like, I don't know who she is. I mean, like, literally crazy things that people wouldn't.
But this is obedience.
It is.
You know, it's one of those things, that big, audacious faith, stepping out.
Yes.
And now.
And for me, let me say, add one more thing.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know that this is true for everybody, but for me, God was like, don't tell the world what you need. Tell me what you need.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
And so I would. I lay in bed at night in the fetal position, scared to death. I was not just happy-go-lucky during this time. I was terrified. I really was. Every time I would say, God, I need you. I need you to provide. I don't know how you're going to pull this off. And inevitably, sometimes it wasn't the next day. Sometimes I had to wait in the anxiousness and give that over.
The Red Sea moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, and then ultimately, it was never the way I thought. Like, oh, if God was a good God, he'd show up by giving me it this way. That's not how he did it. And a lot of times it just took faith, even within that.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, thank you. Oh, where's this at?
In Egan, 1440 Duckwood Drive in Egan, right behind Holiday Gas Station at 35E in Pilot Knob. So,
And what's the name?
vendella is the name. That's my daughter's name. It means beautiful adventure, which is very fitting.
This is very fitting. Hey, Marcie, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.